On Tuesday, President Biden signed 3 executive orders related to immigration. I will read to you one of the executive orders as follows. Executive Order on creating a comprehensive regional framework to address the causes of migration, to manage migration throughout North and Central America, and to provide safe and orderly processing of asylum seekers at the United States border. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, 8 U.S. Code 1101, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1. Policy. For generations, immigrants have come to the United States with little more than the clothes on their backs, hope in their hearts, and a desire to claim their own piece of the American dream. These mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters have made our nation better and stronger. The United States is also a country with borders and with laws that must be enforced. Securing our borders does not require us to ignore the humanity of those who seek to cross them. The opposite is true. We cannot solve the humanitarian crisis at our border without addressing the violence, instability, and lack of opportunity that compel so many people to flee their homes. Nor is the United States safer when resources that should be invested in policies targeting actual threats, such as drug cartels and human traffickers, are squandered on efforts to stymie legitimate asylum seekers. Consistent with these principles, my administration will implement a multi-pronged approach toward managing migration throughout North and Central America that reflects the nation's highest values. We will work closely with civil society, international organizations, and the governments in the region to establish a comprehensive strategy for addressing the causes of migration in the region, build, strengthen, and expand Central and North American countries' asylum systems and resettlement capacity, and increase opportunities for vulnerable populations to apply for protections closer to home. At the same time, the United States will enhance lawful pathways for migration to this country and will restore and strengthen our own asylum system, which has been badly damaged by policies enacted over the last 4 years that contravened our values and caused needless human suffering. Section 2. United States strategies for addressing the root causes of irregular migration and for collaboratively managing migration in the region. A. The Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs, APNSA, in coordination with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and the heads of any other relevant executive departments and agencies, shall as soon as possible prepare 1. The United States Strategy for Addressing the Root Causes of Migration, the Root Causes Strategy, and 2. The United States Strategy for Collaboratively Managing Migration in the Region, the Collaborative Management Strategy. B. The Root Causes Strategy shall identify and prioritize actions to address the underlying factors leading to migration in the region and ensure coherence of the United States government positions. The Root Causes Strategy shall take into account, as appropriate, the views of bilateral, multilateral, and private sector partners, as well as civil society, and it shall include proposals to 1. Coordinate place-based efforts in El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, the Northern Triangle, to address the root causes of migration, including by A. Combating corruption, strengthening democratic governance, and advancing the rule of law. B. Promoting respect for human rights, labor rights, and a free press. C. Countering and preventing violence, extortion, and other crimes perpetrated by criminal gangs, trafficking networks, and other organized criminal organizations. D. Combating sexual, gender-based, and domestic violence. And E. Addressing economic insecurity and inequality. 2. Consult and collaborate with the Office of the United States Trade Representative, the Secretary of Commerce, and the Secretary of Labor to evaluate compliance with the Dominican Republic-Central American Free Trade Agreement to ensure that unfair labor practices do not disadvantage competition. And 3. Encourage the deployment of Northern Triangle domestic resources and the development of Northern Triangle domestic capacity to replicate and scale efforts to foster sustainable societies across the region. C. The Collaborative Management Strategy shall identify and prioritize actions to strengthen cooperative efforts to address migration flows, including by expanding and improving upon previous efforts to resettle throughout the region those migrants who qualify for humanitarian protection. The Collaborative Management Strategy should focus on programs and infrastructure that facilitate access to protection and other lawful immigration avenues in both the United States and partner countries as close to migrants' homes as possible. Priorities should include support for expanding pathways through which individuals facing difficult or dangerous conditions in their home countries can find stability and safety in receiving countries throughout the region, not only through asylum and refugee resettlement, but also through labor and other non-protection related programs. To support the development of the collaborative management strategy, the United States government shall promptly begin consultations with civil society, the private sector, international organizations, and governments in the region, including the government of Mexico. These consultations should address 1. The continued development of asylum systems and resettlement capacities of receiving countries in the region, including through the provision of funding, training, and other support. 2. The development of internal relocation and integration programs for internally displaced persons, as well as return and reintegration programs for returnees in relevant countries of the region. And 3. Humanitarian assistance, including through expansion of shelter networks to address the immediate needs of individuals who have fled their homes to seek protection elsewhere in the region. There are further sections to this executive order, however, they go beyond the scope of this video. If you would like to read the rest of the executive order, the link is in the description below.